Hello and welcome to Mastermind with me, Clive Myrie. In the spotlight tonight are Mohammed Shakir, a reputation management advisor whose specialist subject is James Bond villains. Elizabeth Dawson, a data and supply chain coordinator, her subject, the life of the poet Lord Byron. Patrick Wilson, a head of global health communications, whose subject is J.R.R. Tolkien's Middle-earth. And Jill Austin, a bed and breakfast owner, who will be answering questions on castles of Northumberland. Imagine being able to say you are a mastermind champion. Roll that idea around in your head for a few seconds. It's what our four contenders want, a crack at the ultimate quizzing prize. But first, they must contend with the small matter of 2 minutes of questions on their chosen specialist subject, followed by 2.5 minutes on general knowledge. Beat the nerves, dominate the black chair, and a place awaits in the semi-finals. So let's ask our first contender to join us, please. And your name?
Mohammed Shakir.
And your occupation?
Reputation Management Advisor.
And your specialist subject?
James Bond villains.
007's main antagonists, their agents and henchmen in the official film franchise. 2 minutes. Let's go. Blofeld's first appearance on screen is in From Russia with Love, when he discusses Siamese fighting fish with which other villain played by Lotte Lenya?
Rosa Klebb.
Yes, the first villain whom Bond shoots dead on screen is the metallurgist, Professor Dent, who tried to kill him by putting what creature in his hotel room?
A tarantula.
Yes, after decapitating a statue with a steel-rimmed hat as a warning to Bond not to get involved in Goldfinger's affairs, Oddjob crushes what object in his hand?
A golf ball.
Yes, the first time he meets Bond, which villain describes afternoon tea as your country's one indisputable contribution to Western civilization?
Hugo Drax.
Yes, in License to Kill, the Central American drug lord Franz Sanchez has a henchman called Dario, played by which actor?
Emilio Estevez.
No, Benicio del Toro. In Thunderball, Count Lippi is killed by a missile fired at his car by which fellow Spectre agent on Blofeld's orders?
Fiona Volpe.
Yes. Which film features the ex-Soviet fighter pilot Xenia Onatop, who crushes the Canadian Admiral Farrell to death between her thighs and tries to do the same to Bond in a steam room?
Goldeneye?
Yes, after appearing in Casino Royale and Quantum of Solace, Mr. White dies in Spectre, having been poisoned by what substance?
Thalamide.
No, thallium. In The World Is Not Enough, Electra King, played by Sophie Marceau, plans to give her pipeline a monopoly on transporting oil from the Caspian Sea by destroying which city?
Istanbul.
Yes, in Octopussy, the exiled Afghan prince Kamal Khan advises Bond to spend the money quickly after losing 200,000 rupees to him in what game?
Backgammon.
Yes, Raoul Silva, who attempts to kill M in Skyfall for betraying him, had been an agent working for which MI6 station until 1997?
Hong Kong.
Yes, in The Man with the Golden Gun, the titular character, Scaramanga, works for a multimillionaire industrialist based in Bangkok. What's his name?
High Fat.
Yes, in The Spy Who Loved Me, what's the name of Stromberg's assistant, played by Caroline Munro? I've started, so I'll finish. Whose helicopter is shot down by a missile fired from Bond's submarine car?
Marina.
No, Naomi. And Mohammed, you had no passes, and at the end of that round, you've scored 10 points. And our next contender, please. Your name?
Elizabeth Dawson.
And your occupation?
Data and Supply Chain Coordinator.
And your chosen specialist subject?
The life of Lord Byron.
Yeah, the aristocratic poet known for his turbulent romantic life. In 2 minutes, starting now, George Gordon Byron was born in 1788 in a house on which London street where the first English heritage blue plaque was later installed in commemoration?
Hollis Street.
Yes, Byron began his formal education in 1794 at a grammar school in which Scottish city?
Aberdeen.
Yes, in 1810, Byron and his good friend John Hobhouse hitched a ride aboard which frigate from the city of Smyrna to Constantinople?
The Hydra?
No, Salsette. On their first day in Athens, Byron and Hobhouse received a visit from which Italian painter, acting as agent to Lord Elgin, who was engaged in the removal of Greek antiquities from the Parthenon?
Bartolini?
No, Giovanni Battista Lucieri. What was the name of the ambitious Scottish publisher who, in 1811, agreed to publish Byron's epic poem Childe Harold's Pilgrimage and thereafter remained an important figure in Byron's life?
John Murray.
Yes, what's the title of the poem that sold 10,000 copies on the day of publication in 1814 and was a huge favourite of the Prince Regent's daughter, Princess Charlotte?
The Corsair.
Yes, Teresa, Byron's married lover while he was living in Ravenna, was often referred to in his journals and letters as La Contessa G. The letter G stood for what surname?
Guiccioli.
Yes, Guiccioli. What was the name of Byron's English valet who was at the poet's side throughout his final illness in Missolonghi in 1824 and accompanied his body back to England?
Fletcher.
Yes. What was the title of the literary periodical that Byron founded with Leigh Hunt while they were in Pisa?
The Idler.
No, the Liberal in Venice. Byron lodged with a draper named Pietro Segatti and soon began an affair with Segatti's wife, Mariana. What was the name of Segatti's shop, which local gossips nicknamed Al Corno Inglese, meaning the house of the Englishman's cuckold?
It was a bakery.
No, Il Ciervo. Which statesman and early leader of an independent Greece welcomed Byron to Missolonghi in 1824, encouraging him to help lead an attack on the town of Lepanto?
Avradotus.
No, Prince Alexandros Mavrokordatos. And Elizabeth, you had no passes, and at the end of that round, you've got 6 points. And our next contender, please. And your name?
Patrick Wilson.
And your occupation?
I'm Head of Global Health Communications.
And your specialist subject?
J.R. Tolkien's Middle-earth.
The fictional land that was the setting for The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings. In 2 minutes, starting now. The action of The Hobbit starts outside and The Lord of the Rings finishes inside the same residence. What is its name?
Bag End.
Yes, which town was destroyed by Smaug shortly after the dragon's taking of Erebor, the Lonely Mountain?
Dale.
Yes, what name is given to the land between the Misty Mountains and the Blue Mountains, containing at various times the Kingdom of Arnor and the Hobbit's territory of the Shire?
Eriador.
Yes, the mailcoat given by the dwarf king Thorin Oakenshield to Bilbo and handed on by Bilbo to Frodo was made of what silver-like metal of which the only source in Middle-earth was the mines of Moria?
Mithril.
Yes, the Gondorian city of Minas Tirith, a name meaning the Tower of Guard, given after it was renamed from Minas Anor, was built on how many levels?
7.
Yes, what's the name of the healing herb, sometimes known as King's Foil, which was brought to Middle-earth by the Númenóreans and gathered by Aragorn near Weathertop after the attack by the Ringwraiths?
Athalas.
Yes, the Second Age of Middle-earth came to an end after which king cut the ruling ring from the hand of the Dark Lord Sauron and took it for his own?
Isildur.
Yes, what was the name of the spider that assisted Melkor in the destruction of the trees of Valinor before birthing the race of giant spiders, the last of whom was Shelob?
Ungoliant.
Yes, which of the 5 wizards, or Eastery, who came to Middle-earth in the Third Age from the Undying Lands to contest the power of Sauron, was a friend of all the beasts and birds?
Radagast.
Yes, the Balrogs are a race of fire demons. Who was their lord who fell in battle in the Square of the King during the sack of the Gondolin, the last of the high elf cities of Beleriand by Morgoth's forces?
Bothmog.
No, Gothmog. The plant called Cymbalmeuna, also known as Evermind, which grows on the barrows of the kings of Rohan near Edoras, has what colour flowers?
White.
Yes, what was the name, meaning Iron Prison of the great dungeon fortress, created by Melkor, the godlike Lord of Darkness, later called Morgoth, as his base in the northwest of Middle-earth during the First Age?
Angband.
Yes, it was Angband. Patrick, you had no passes, and at the end of that round, you've got 11 points. And our final contender, please. Your name
Jill Austin.
and your occupation
Bed and breakfast owner.
and your specialist subject.
Castles of Northumberland.
Yeah, the many castles of England's northernmost county. In 2 minutes, Starting now. From its foundation by Ranulph Flambard in 1121 to the 16th century, Norham Castle was a possession of the successive holders of the post Bishop of which diocese?
Durham.
Yes, in which castle was John Balliol declared King of Scotland by Edward I of England in 1292?
Berwick.
Yes, in the early years of the 20th century, Edwin Lutyens and Gertrude Jekyll renovated Lindisfarne Castle and its grounds for which businessman and magazine owner?
Edward Thomas.
No, Edward Hudson. What breed of wild white cattle, once described by the historian Simon Sharma as perhaps the greatest icon of British natural history, roamed the parkland of a castle of the same name?
Chillingham.
Yes, Belsay Castle, which was constructed around 1370, was owned almost continuously by what family for more than 600 years?
The Middletons.
Yes, which castle, built in 1157 by Odinel de Umfreville, was the birthplace of Margaret, Countess of Lennox, the grandmother of King James I of England?
Harbottle.
Yes, a large fireplace in Coupland Castle, near the small town of Wooler, is engraved with the year 1619 and the initials GW and NW, a reference to its previous owners, George and Mary, who?
Wallace.
Yes, the west ward of Bamborough Castle contains a windmill, as well as an original entrance to the medieval fortress, named after which saint?
Oswald.
Yes. Which castle, built just south of the River Tyne by the Umfreville family, successfully resisted sieges by William the Lion, King of Scotland, in 1173 and 1174?
Prudhoe.
Yes, the original gatehouse of Dunstanburgh Castle was later converted into a keep in works commissioned by which nobleman?
John of Gaunt.
Yes, in the 15th century, the Manners family of Eatle Castle became engaged in a feud with which other family who owned the nearby Ford Castle?
The Herons.
Yes. In 1981, the former servants' quarters at Alnwick Castle began to be used as a study centre for students from which university in Minnesota?
St Cloud.
Yes, St Cloud State University. Jill, you had no passes, and at the end of that round, you've scored 11 points.
Thank you.
And at the end of the specialist subjects round, let's have a look at the scores. In fourth place with 6 points is Elizabeth. In third place with 10 points comes Mohammed. In joint first place with 11 points each, Patrick and Jill. So now the general knowledge round, and if there's a tie at the end, then the number of passes is taken into account and the person with the fewer passes is the winner. And if they're tied on passes as well, then it's a tie break. So let's ask Elizabeth to join us again, please. Elizabeth, you start with 6 points. You've now got 2.5 minutes on general knowledge. Let's go. Which tall structure in Paris is sometimes affectionately referred to as the Iron Lady?
The Eiffel Tower?
Yes. Twin boys given the names Thunder and St. Leo were born in 2021 to which Jamaican sprinter and his partner, Carsey Bennett?
Usain Bolt?
Yes, the 1947 Christmas film Miracle on 34th Street features an old man who plays Santa at what real-life department store on 34th Street in New York City?
Macy's?
Yes, what name from a Malay word for thorn is given to the fruit of a tree native to Southeast Asia, notorious for its putrid smell?
Ooh, dragon fruit.
No, it's the durian. Which Welsh city has the telephone area code 029?
Cardiff?
Yes, Jean-Claude Duvalier, the president of Haiti from 1971 to 1986, had what nickname inspired by that of his father, Francois Papadoc Duvalier?
Butterfly?
No, Baby Doc. Which metallic element has the chemical symbol Li?
Lithium?
Yes, the British actor Josh O'Connor won a Golden Globe in 2021 for his role in the television drama series The Crown, portraying which member of the royal family?
Prince Charles?
Yes, which American author wrote the novels Sharp Objects, Dark Places and Gone Girl, all of which have been adapted for the screen?
Gillian Floyd?
No, Gillian Flynn. The formula 1/3 pi r squared h, where r is the radius and h is the height, is used to calculate the volume of which solid figure?
Cone?
Yes, 11 Victoria Crosses were awarded after which 1879 battle in the Anglo-Zulu War?
Boar?
No, Battle of Rorke's Drift. What Britpop band, fronted by Justine Frischmann, topped the UK chart in 1995 with their self-titled debut album featuring the hit singles Line Up, Connection and Waking Up?
Blur?
No, Elastica. In a children's song written in 1956 by Ralph Butler and Peter Hart, what's the name of the elephant who packed her trunk and said goodbye to the circus?
Nelly.
Yes, which Brazilian author wrote the best-selling 1988 novel The Alchemist, about a shepherd's spiritual journey through North Africa?
Pass.
What informal term for a boss, foreman or football manager is an abbreviated form of the word godfather?
Gaffer.
Yes, gaffer. In 2018, Scott Morrison became the Prime Minister of which Commonwealth country?
Canada.
No, Australia. The book by Isaac Walton, first published in 1653, which is an exploration in prose and verse of the art of fishing, is entitled The Complete what?
Fisher.
It's angler. And Elizabeth, you had one pass. The Brazilian author of The Alchemist was Paulo Coelho. And at the end of that round, Elizabeth, you've got 15 points. And next up, Mohammed again, please. So, Mohammed, you start with 10 points. The score to beat as it stands is 15 points. And you've now got 2.5 minutes of general knowledge questions. Starting now, what small metric unit of weight is abbreviated to the letters mg, both in lowercase?
Milligram.
Yes, what feature of a house is described in Cockney rhyming slang as the apples and pears?
The toilet.
No, the stairs. The Nubian desert is in the north of which continent?
Africa.
Yes, which political activist and leading Beat Generation author wrote the poem Howl?
Terry.
No, Allen Ginsberg, although it translates from French as raw or rough, when it appears on the label of a bottle of unsweetened sparkling wine, the word brute is usually understood as what adjective?
Tart.
No, dry. At the Battle of Salamis in 480 BC, a Greek fleet destroyed a naval force from which empire?
The Persian Empire.
Yes, in a standard game of snooker, how many of the balls are red?
15.
Yes, what Oscar-winning 1958 film musical starring Leslie Caron and Louis Jourdain is based on a short novel by the French writer Colette?
Pass.
Which sculptor created the early 20th century work Rock Drill, widely considered to be an archetype of the Vorticist movement, although the horrors of the First World War moved him to dismantle it?
Turner.
No, Jacob Epstein. A road bridge opened in 1995 connects the village of Kyle of Loch Alsh on the Scottish mainland to which island in the Inner Hebrides?
Sky.
Yes, Help Me Make It Through the Night and The Best Thing That Ever Happened to Me were UK hit singles in the 1970s for which American soul singer and her backing band?
Pass.
What name for a single eyeglass comes from a Latin term that means one-eyed?
Ocular.
No, monocle. What's the surname of the American filmmaker brothers Josh and Benny, who wrote and directed the 2019 film Uncut Gems?
Harold.
No, Safdie. The children's characters Pinky and Perky, who first appeared on television in 1957, are puppet representations of which farm animal?
Sheep.
No, Pig. Which of Ireland's national daily newspapers, first published in Dublin in 1859, once employed the novelist Maeve Binchy as a London correspondent and the author Flann O'Brien as a regular columnist?
The Irish Times.
Yes, which controversial British music impresario who died in 2010 was the manager of the Sex Pistols from their formation in 1975 until they split up almost 3 years later?
Robert Maxwell.
No, Malcolm McLaren. The Royal Liverpool Golf Club, which has hosted the Open many times, I've started so I'll finish, including in 2006 and 2014, is also known by the name of which town on the Wirral Peninsula where it's located?
Aintree.
No, it's Hoylake. And Mohammed, you had 2 passes, Help Me Make It Through the Night and The Best Thing That Ever Happened to Me. UK hit singles for Gladys Knight. The Oscar-winning 1958 film musical starring Leslie Caron and Louis Jourdain is based on the short novel by the French writer Colette. It is Gigi. And at the end of that round, Mohammed, you've got 16 points. And next up, let's have Patrick again, please. So, Patrick, you start with 11 points, the score to beat, as it stands, 16. You've got 2.5 minutes on general knowledge. Here we go. Which European country is known in its own language as Polska?
Poland.
Yes, since 1715, in which sport have contestants competed in the Doggett's Coat and Badge race on the River Thames?
Rowing.
Yes, in our solar system, the main asteroid belt, which contains hundreds of thousands of asteroids, lies between the orbits of Mars and which other planet?
Jupiter.
Yes, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame opened in 1995 in which city in the US state of Ohio?
Portland.
No, Cleveland. Cillian Murphy plays the gangster Tommy Shelby in which television drama series?
Peaky Blinders.
Yes, Institutes of the Christian Religion, first published in 1536, was an influential book on Protestant theology written by which Christian reformer?
Erasmus.
No, John Calvin. In August 1945, the United States detonated atomic bombs over Hiroshima and which other Japanese city?
Nagasaki.
Yes, in May 2021, which Labour politician was re-elected for a second term as Mayor of London?
Sadiq Khan.
Yes, which director and screenwriter from New Zealand became the first female winner of the Palme d'Or for her 1993 film The Piano?
Jane Campion.
Yes, what term, the French for rising, has been used historically to refer to countries that have coastlines on the eastern Mediterranean?
Heraldric.
No, the Levant. Which author drew on his experience as an English teacher on a Greek island in the 1950s for his 1965 novel, The Magus?
John Fowles.
Yes, in the late 1890s, which British composer wrote the song cycle Sea Pictures, in which he set 5 poems by different writers, including his wife, to music?
Elgar.
Yes. What term translates from Italian as to the tooth and is used in English to describe pasta that has been cooked so that it remains firm to the bites?
Al dente.
Yes. What's the first name of the journalist and author who is the daughter of the UK Prime Minister, Margaret Thatcher?
Carol Thatcher.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which Texan model and actress took part in a wedding ceremony with Mick Jagger on the Indonesian island of Bali in 1990, which was declared null and void by a High Court judge 9 years later?
Jerry Hall.
Yes. Vexillology is defined as the study of what items?
Toothpicks.
No, flags. The position of Master of the Mint, previously an entirely separate office, has been held ceremonially since 1870 by the holder of which post in the UK Cabinet?
The Chancellor of the Exchequer.
Yes, the sculpture entitled The End by Heather Phillipson, which was unveiled on the 4th plinth in London's Trafalgar Square in 2020, features a swirl of whipped cream topped with a fly, a drone, and what fruit?
A strawberry.
No, it's a cherry. And Patrick, you had no passes, and at the end of that round, you now have a total of 24 points. And now, time for Jill. Jill, you start with 11 points, the score to beat to get through to the semi-finals. Patrick's 24, and you've got 2.5 minutes, plenty of time, on general knowledge, starting now. Ticker is an informal term for which organ of the body?
The heart.
Yes, which airport serving the London area is designated by the international code LTN?
Luton.
Yes. What animals are depicted playing poker in an 1894 painting by the American artist Cassius Coolidge?
Cats.
No, dogs. In the 2012 film The Best Exotic Marigold Hotel and its 2015 sequel, which actor plays the hotel manager Sunny Kapoor?
Ralph Patel.
No, Dev Patel. What girl's name goes before the word pocket in the name of a toy doll invented by Chris Wiggs in the 1980s and designed to be small enough to fit into a pocket?
Polly.
Yes, which Tudor statesman was executed on the 28th of July, 1540, the same day that Henry VIII married Catherine Howard?
Thomas More.
No, Thomas Cromwell. The word tarp for a protective, waterproof sheet is an abbreviation of what word?
Tarpaulin.
Yes, in the British peerage, what hereditary title ranks beneath an earl and above a baron?
Duke.
No, Viscount. The Arnolfini portrait in the collection of the National Gallery was painted in 1434 by which Flemish artist?
Vermeer.
No, Jan van Eyck. Which footballer who signed for Tottenham in December 1961 and went on to score for them in that season's FA Cup final famously lost out to Geoff Hurst for a place in the England side that won the 1966 World Cup final?
Henry Carr.
No, Jimmy Greaves. What name, from a Greek word meaning slander, is given to the act of speaking disrespectfully or offensively about God?
Blasphemy.
Yes, which American actress appeared as the wife of Dick Van Dyke's character in The Dick Van Dyke Show in the 1960s and went on to star in her own self-titled television sitcom in the 1970s?
Mary Tyler Moore.
Yes, in terms of population, which is the largest city in New Zealand?
Christchurch.
No, Auckland. Which singer reached #2 in the UK in 2006 with her debut album All Right Still and was shortlisted for the Mercury Prize for her 2018 album No Shame?
Martha Wilson.
No, Lily Allen, William Hague and Rishi Sunak have both served as the MP for which constituency in North Yorkshire?
Richmond.
Yes, which Stoic philosopher and Roman emperor of the 2nd century AD wrote 12 books of meditations recording his innermost thoughts?
Herodotus.
No, Marcus Aurelius. Which waxwork museum with branches worldwide is named after a French sculptor who opened an exhibition of her wax figures in London in 1835?
Madame Tussaud.
It is Madame Tussauds. And Jill, you had no passes, and at the end of that round, you now have a total of 19 points.
Thank you.
So let's have a look at the final scores. In 4th place with 15 points is Elizabeth. In 3rd place with 16 points comes Mohammed. In 2nd place with 19 points, Jill. And in 1st place with 24 points, it's Patrick, which means that he goes through to the semi-finals. Congratulations to him. Now, if you would like to be a contender in the next series, please go to our website, bbc.co.uk/mastermind, and you can follow us at Mastermind Quiz. Join us again next time for more Masterminds. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.
I didn't really prepare very intensively, but actually, because of my subject, I really enjoyed reading those books since I was a child, so actually it was a pleasure just to sort of reread them. Bag End.
Yes.
I thought I bit off more than I could chew because, you know, it's such a complicated world that Tolkien created. But I did get my wife and kids to just read questions at me. You don't want to pass, so I just got used to answering even if I didn't know the answer. Isildur.
Yes.
Ungoliant.
Yes.
Radagast.
Yes, the Balrogs are a race of fire demons. Who was their lord?
Well, the one I got wrong, right? Gothmog did pop into my head, but I got confused because I thought that was another character, like, who wasn't a Balrog. And so I just kind of conflated Balrog and Gothmog. Bothmog.
No, Gothmog.
And I knew when I was saying it, it was complete nonsense. But hey, you know, that happens.
And in 1st place with 24 points, it's Patrick.
Can I imagine being a Mastermind champion? Oh, not yet. I'm going to take each game as it comes.